Howdy everyone, here on this Voltage, and I've been putting this video into plan for the better part of 2 weeks because I'm hoping to do this for my channel anniversary, for being the 6th year of my channel, and this is also covering a brand new game. Don't expect a lot on this game because, well, it's generally a really big game, plus it's on my Switch, so I can't play it onto my actual recording software, so yeah. But today I'm breaking all the Moris in Dead by Daylight. There are 44 in all, so this is going to be a pretty long video. And if you guys haven't heard of Dead by Daylight, it's a sort of asymmetric horror game where the survivors must repair generators while trying to avoid another human player who's playing as certain killers. Like, I'll just say a few. Ghostface, there's also Springtrap now in the game. You've got Wraith, who's basically like a character who can go invisible. There's also the artist, Doctor, Twins, Pyramid Head. There's a lot of characters. So let's start with 44th on the list for Moris. Unfortunately, some of the first killers in the game generally have a really bad Moris, and also this footage music is credit to Warby Gaming, because like I said earlier, I cannot record this kind of stuff without using much of this footage. So Warby, I will put your video in the description of my video. So thank you. The first Mori that's 44th is the Trapper. We also expect a lot of gore. This is the Trapper Mori. It's honestly generally just a few slashes to the back. Compared to what comes later on, that is pretty bad. This is in another point of view. This is just a bad Mori all around. I'm gonna go to number 43 now. We're gonna skip forward two killers in time to the Hillbilly. The Hillbilly has an okay Mori. He just brings his chains up, straight down, quick and efficient. He doesn't mess around. He does the job and just gets it done right. As you can see from this perspective, it's not flashy, but it does the job right. That is 43rd. Now it's time for 42. He has no style. He has no grace. Wraith is 42nd place. The Wraith is the killer who can go invisible earlier. He grabs him by the leg, drags him backwards, and then just starts hacking at him with his weapon. That is pretty simple, but the pullback is what makes it do slightly better. Not flashy, but it works. I'm going to go on to number 41st now. And we're going to be going way upward in the timeline of killers because this is Sadako from the Ring. From the Ring. For her being 41st place, some of you who do know about this game may be genuinely pissed off. But here's my thoughts on this killer. Whenever I face this killer, for some reason, I'm the one who gets worried. Most because I don't know how the tapes really work. But I have a grudge against Sadako. A massive grudge. Also, she just snaps your arm, snaps the leg, and then does a creepy eye shot. And then it's just writhing on the ground. It's disturbing, but it's a bit too quick for my liking. I do like the shot of Survivor stuck on the ground. That's creative and cool. They get 41st. Now, if you guys don't like vomit and that kind of stuff, I'd say skip the 40th one, like the next one up. I'd say skip it then. This is the Plague. They have the ability to spit vomit across the map to poison objects, which if you touch them, or try to repair, like say for repairing a generator that has the toxic ooze on them, you can get infected. But there's also fountains of rituals across the map that you can cure the plague in you. But it also gives the killer the second power in the Corrupt Purge, which allows him to down you. But this is their Mori. She's from the ancient hub of Babylon, which makes her do a sort of prayer. She thinks the entity is her god, and also that is disgusting. The disgust factor is what really gets it behind me, because I do not like the disgusting nature of it. And plus, they don't use the corrupt purge. They just use they just use the regular acid, or the regular vomit. If you want more style points, or if you want actual making sense points, use the corrupt purge because that's actually injures the survivor. But now we're gonna go on to the next person on the list, who will be 39th. We are going far up in the timeline to one of the more semi-recent killers in the last few years. This is the Skull Merchant, a custom killer, just like the Wraith and Buildings in Trapper and Plague. Her drone spins around the survivor, and then she puts her arm on the shoulder, and then just stabs him to the chest. Shows some blood dripping down. The drone comes down and scans them. I don't know why it does that. Probably just to show that the drone's in the Mori, and it's doing something. But I will just say, this is like another Mori that is actually a good 15 spots on the list. So, yeah, that other person does it right. And yes, I'm talking about Freddy, who, being actually just barely below the lower half of the Moris, is impressive. Look, I'm a sucker for gore, but there's only so much I can take of disgustingness. Next up is, in 38th place, the Blight. He stabs the person in the chest with a blighted serum, which causes a giant bubble of acid to appear in the stomach, and he brings his weapon down to pop that bubble and kill him. That is just disturbing in my eyes. I am not a person who likes that kind of thing. Ugh. I don't mind people getting their heads ripped off and that kind of stuff, which doesn't really happen in these boards because it's a game that's supposed to be rated. Well, it's not mature, at least. It's not M for mature. So yeah, I'm gonna go on to the next place, which would be 37th. Next up is probably one of the most disturbing killers in the roster, being the Unknown. This person / whatever the fuck you call him is just plain and simply unnerving, as you can see. The horror. This is just a disturbing Mori, plain and simple. Ugh. You can see the sort of spirit of the person enter into the Unknown's back when he draws his tentacles back in. I just never liked things with tentacles because of that. Ugh. Oh, I actually never noticed the body just disappears. That's actually kind of cool. But still, I still do think the next Mori is better, because we're going to number 36. Next up is Carmina, the artist. She has the ability of summoning crows and sending them across the battlefield. She'll run into your mouth, and, well, disgusting factor is top tier, and so is gore, since the crows are literally eating the survivor's corpse when they're done, getting summoned. This one is another one of those more disturbing Moris than everything, but I love the crow swirling around part. That is sick. That is the main key part of that Mori that makes it better. But now we're going back to the beginning of the game, because we're going up next to 35 and Michael Myers. Michael Myers was actually the first licensed killer to be added to the game. So let's see what he does, and see if he does it right. You can just tell that Michael Myers is a senseless motherfucker, because when the survivor pulls the knife out, he's like, and just stabs it deeper in. He's like, and that just throws them to the ground like they're trash, because to him, the survivors are trash. He's just here to do his job and do it right. Quick, efficient, and to the point. Thank you, Michael. But also, I've seen this Mori far too many times for me to say it's my kind of thing anymore. Now we're going to go to number 34, which you'll see in a second, because it's not really the best one. Next up is the Spirit, which I will say that her perk, Rancor, is one of my favorite, because it allows me to instantly Mori my enemy. But I also will say that she does it right. She does a semi-decent Mori. Summons her Shadow Katana, stabs him through the chest, and then goes shing, 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 shing. That is, when that first came out, people saw that Mori quite often and annoyed some. But personally, I do actually kind of like it. But her Moris on the actual phone and like on mobile are actually surprisingly a lot better and a lot flashier than that one. Now, we're gonna go to number 3. This killer used to be my main, but I dropped him for a better one because, well, this killer kind of. Honestly, what would you expect from me? Someone called the Doctor who uses electricity for their kind of power. My online persona is based off of Pikachu. What would you expect? Number 33, the Doctor. He goes with electricity, and wait for it, he adds insult injury, turn the face over seeing it smoking, then does a demented laugh. That is creepy and disturbing. I love it. But I've seen this Mori far too much that it's gotten stale for me, unfortunately. It's time to go to number 32, and this is technically 2 separate characters, but they both have different Moris, like with or without the second one. And I will just say that this is a bit of the twins. This is Charlotte without Victor. This is a more simple, just hack and slash Mori, but it's effective. And it says a message that go away, basically, to the survivor, because she gets the job done fast and efficient. As you can see, she just gets the job done. The next one may generally piss a few you off, because 31st is I will just say, Pyramid Head does have a good Mori, but it's too comical for me because of because look at his giant ass sword. He's like, shink. That is so unrealistic that he just stabs it on them, then twists it sideways. Like, what the fuck? That's more comedic than anything. But I love the sort of chains and the wire, whatever, just wrapping around the server. That's a cool add-on. Like that's a cool way to hold it in place. Now we're gonna go right back to 2 people we just saw, because next up in the 30th, the twins are back. This is the twins with Victor. She stabs him twice. Victor's like, and she's like, mm-hmm. And then Victor goes in their face and just basically just bites at their neck and scratches at them, finishing them off. It's better than the first one by quite a bit, because I love the interaction between those two of her being like, yes, go ahead, have fun. Now we're gonna get into one of the newer licensed killers. But I would say from here on, the kills take a step up on brutality and flashiness. Good old Nemesis from Resident Evil. Let's see what he does to this hour. Oh wait, he uses his tentacle, stabs him to the chest, picks him, slams him to the ground, and then bowls him, stomps him, and rubs his boot in like. Also, if you do it on Leon and also Jill Valentine, he says stairs when he kills him, which is a neat touch in the game for an Easter egg. So yeah, style points to the devs for thinking that kind of smart way into the advance. Now let's go to the next kill, who will be 28. Next up is the Xenomorph from Alien. This is a brutal Mori, but it's also a semi-fast one. She stabs him to the chest with her tail, and then quick and efficient. One bite to the face, they're dead. I'll give it points for persistence because they do the job right. It's fast and I guess, well, it's painful because they got a tail through the chest, but the finishing blow is just like, you're dead. Oh. Just look at the fast, like. Now the next kill, I just find it really disturbing. I'm surprised it even got to 27th. This is the Dredge. The Dredge is... I'm not even sure what the fuck the Dredge is, because he's just some sort of black-ass mist, but First, he grabs him with two little things, then he starts stabbing them with multiple things. Then he just smacks him across the back of the head. You can tell that this guy's bringing every single thing to the arsenal to kill him. And then he drags them into the fog to consume them. That is disturbing. At best, he uses first two hands. Oh, that's a knife. There's also a screwdriver in there. There's also some sort of fork. Then he smacks him across the back of the head with his tentacle. Then uses two sort of mandible claws, stabbing him in the back. Then just pulls him into the fog, killing him permanently. Effective, I'd say, because this is one of the first times in the kills we have no idea what the fuck happened to the survivor because they're just gone. Really? All the way back to the beginning of the video for Freddy Krueger getting 26th. That is surprisingly semi-good for a Mori that most people think is shit. Because it's simple, but the blood spray, baby, and the simple move forward, he's like, you are nothing but trash to me. To them, the survivor is just literal garbage. He does not care who they are. He does his job and gets back to killing them. That is how a Mori should be for most of the times. But others, a few who we'll get to, put a little bit of swing into things. Ain't that right? Trickster. And the Trickster paid for it in a good way because they are still quite a few spots ahead of this one. But now I need to go to another person's video because the next one is actually a custom skin kill. And unfortunately this guy didn't do custom skin kills. So, yeah, I'll be back in a second. Next up is the Were Elk. This is a custom skin for Huntress, and I will just say that this one is kind of stupid. First, he bears the axe down to the back once, pulls them backwards, and he's like, look at them. He lifts them up by the back of the neck and sticks them to his antlers and has their guts hanging on their antlers. That is just disturbing. But now it's time to go and get to the next kill. It appears the custom skin lost just barely to the original skin, the Huntress. I'd say the Huntress does this Mori barely better than the Were Elk because it's more realistic, rather than just going putting them on your antlers. That was just kind of stupid and looking. Honestly, it really was. Slams the axe down right to the head, and the Sarah grasps at the axe trying to pull out, but then she's like, haha, and just brings it down twice in their chest after they were already dead. Adding more insult to injury. Which I love, because very few killers actually just make sure the person's dead. She's like, I'm not happy with you. I'm just gonna say you're dead now. She makes sure that they're dead. Now it's time for number 23. Bubba, aka Leatherface, is currently in 23rd with a pretty decent Mori. Slams his sledgehammer down on the back of their neck, then goes with a chainsaw right through the entire back. That is painful looking. And then he does this sort of taunt that he has. Crunch. Oh, I've noticed he actually drops the sledgehammer. That's actually a pretty cool touch. I love the little taunt here. That's pretty cool. That shows some pretty good cool character for Bubba. Next up, I'm gonna go back to early in the game to the Nurse. This is the 4th killer added to the game. Getting this high is kind of impressive, honestly. She flips them over with her psychic powers, comes down to them, and starts choking them out. However, Sarah starts banging on her shoulder. She actually has a sort of heart because she ends up basically closing the Sarah's eyes after she kills them. Which is impressive. That, because Sally here, she's kind of demented, but she also has a slight heart. But she's mostly insensitized to killing because she worked at a mental hospital, which made her go insane. So, yeah. We're going to that kind of lore stuff now. Fun! That's going to go to number 21. Next up is Amanda Young from the Saw movies. This is the pig. Stabs him in the hand because they block the knife with their hand, and then she's like, and just slashes them across the neck. It's quick and efficient. And it actually matches Amanda quite right, honestly. It really does. But I'd say it could have been higher if they used one of the reverse bear traps. They didn't bring a reverse bear trap just because the trapper didn't use his traps at all. And I will say, the alternate costume for a trapper does use his bear traps and is much higher in the list. Like top 10 higher. Which is impressive, to say the least. But now let's go on to number 20. I will say, congratulations to Deathslinger for getting top 20. I'm barely pulling into the top 20 because he's got a more comedic Mori. He stabs the person in the back with his harpoon launcher, shoots the bayonet straight out through their mouth. That's more of a middle finger to the survivor than anything. Like, that's a bad way to die. God. And I love it just casually reels it back in like, yeah, my job is done here. This person's dead. But I will say the next person, they got lucky due to recency bias, but the recency bias also hurt them because, my fucking god, I see them everywhere. This is Ken Kaneki from Tokyo Ghoul. And personally, I hate this killer with a passion. For them to still get 19th in the list. And I will say, I have no love towards Skull Merchant and Blight. And they got 39th and 38th. And I was just saying, Sadako got 41st because I've seen her Mori far too often. This Mori I've seen quite a lot. But it's a good Mori. He pins them to the ground with her hands, then pulls them, and then just rips their guts out. And tastes their blood, I guess. And goes to town. That is a more drawn out kill, but it does its job making a point, I guess. It's 1,000 minus 7. I love the flash of the red eyes, though, because that is just sick. But now this part's just disturbing. I feel bad for Dwight. Now, I don't want to show the next kill because that one is a top 10 Mori. But now we're going to go to number 18. This may genuinely piss someone off because when this guy ranked him, he was in their top 3. But he's not in my top 3. I will just say, hearing up, the Moris get fucking good. This is Pinhead from Hellraiser. I like how the stars stand up, and then he starts summoning chains all over, and they just start ripping at the survivor. I have such sights to show you. He summons a pillar, straps it to the pillar, sends it down to the portal. I don't know much about the Hellraiser games, but it's apparently said that he apparently brings it to the labyrinth. Not really sure about that, but I'm not one to complain, I guess. I don't know anything about... Oh, there are spikes on that pole. Oh, getting slammed back first onto those. Ouch. Time to actually go to number 16 now. This is where the game started going to the sort of space horror theme with the Xenomorph. This is the Singularity. This is another custom killer that was made for the game. Like, it's another original killer. And Hux here, I will be fast, possibly painless. He stabs him in the chest, picks him up by the head, die fast please, and then just kind of injects him in the forehead, which goes pop. Their face fucking explodes. It is over. He just dropped them to the ground like they're literal trash because Hux views all humans as inferior to him. So yeah, you can just tell he's desensitized to anybody who he cares about. Now it's time to go on to number 15. Here and up, it gets good. There is violence. There is gore. There is people being absolute fucking show-offs. I will say that this killer, they have done impressive to make it to the top 15 due to sheer disgust of what they do. This is the clown. And also, he's actually the last killer who's from super early in the game's development to make it this high, besides one, who I will just say, Ghostface knows what he's doing, because he likes to be a little bit of a show-off. Crunch, crunch. You hear the sound of the skull crunching when he steps down on them. Then he cuts off their finger. The clown collects fingers. Then he licks on it, getting the blood off it, which is kind of messed up and demented. But it's also actually different for the females because he cuts off their ring finger, if I remember right. He picks a different finger which he cuts off for the male and females. But the sheer disgust factor and the fact that you hear the crunch when he steps on the head really carry this guy up high in the list. Now, we're gonna go to number 14, where the killer just pulls basically everything out of his pocket and puts it in his arm. I will say, Chucky, aka Chucky, well, aka the good guy, knows how to put on a show. First, he throws a hammer at the back of their head, pulls out a bat, stabs with the head, pulls out a stick, stabs in the back, pulls out a knife, stabs him twice in the neck, and then just kicks him in the side. That's called adding insult to injury. He puts on a show. I just like how he just pulls everything out of his back pocket. He does not know how to be nice. Also, he doesn't know how to shut his damn mouth, because he's one of the killers that's going like, throughout the entire trial. Which I love. Springtrap is also like that, but he is still up in the list. Now on time for the next killer. This killer knows how to be fashionable to kill, the Houndmaster, which is actually one of the most recent. This is actually pretty recent because like this is most like think of like the. Let me check. This is the third most recent killer in the game. To get 13th place means that Moris are good, because this is not a bad Mori. She summons the dog. The hound goes onto her. She slams the cane down and like stop. She brings her eye heel down twice, then once more, and rubs her foot back and forth, and then pulls it up. It's efficient, I will say that. I love the fact that the dog is so loyal that when she smacks the cane down, it freaking listens to her. It's like, fine then. And when she's killing him, she just casually, the dog's like, just barking at him casually, and then the dog sliding past. It is kind of stupid. But yeah, Houndmaster 13th. Congratulations. People say this is an iffy Mori. Personally, I love it. It's good on the gore factor. She also uses her power well with summoning the dog to attack the person first. That is a good combination. Some of you may remember earlier that I said there was a chauffeur in the roster. Well, we're at said show-off. This is the Trickster. Let's get it all right. Yeah. They are all about style. You saw the first knife they threw up in the air? Well, wait for it. They throw out their autograph, and the first knife comes down through the autograph into their chest. Like, they throw one knife off, they're like, yes. And then just go boom, 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 with spinning maneuvers. They got style, I'll give them that. They got style and grace. And then, just to add the insult to injury at the very end. I love that Mori with a passion. It is a good one. Now we're going to go on to number 11. We're going to my current main of Dead by Daylight. The Dark Lord, aka Dracula. Dracula, he puts style and finesse into what he does. Bats swirl around, he stabs him across the neck. Impeccable timing, summons a cup. Puts it under their neck as blood comes into the cup. Drinks it, then throws the glass to the ground, shattering it. That is called style and simplicity. And it's pretty faithful to Dracula. And the bats swirling around just looks great. It adds a little bit of show to it. And you see him just like, he's like, and then he just falls to the ground dead. That is style points for a Mori. I love this killer. I actually hadn't bought them at first. I had been waiting. I was like, do I really want to get this killer or not? And then I decided to get them, and I was like, this killer's actually pretty fun. Now we're in the point of the top 10. This is where the Moris get intense. Next up is Vecna, aka the Lich, who has two Moris. Actually, this is their first one. Wait for it. It's just rips all their skin off, turns them into a skeleton, that's it. Quick and efficient. I like the style points. Very well. You can just tell he does not care about who the survivors are, who the survivors are. This is actually Dungeons and Dragons Vecna, not Stranger Things Vecna. Quick and efficient. And time for the second Mori, which is even more quick and efficient. Spikes, and just pulls him down with the spikes. That's a way to do the job done fast. I will say though, the first Mori really carries Vecna up. It really carries Vecna to the top 10. That first Mori is sick. Now I'm gonna go to number 9. The Demogorgon, the goodest boy of the game. Okay, then. He lunges forward, stabs him twice, and then just shakes their head around senselessly in his mouth while the survivor is screaming in pain. Then goes as blood comes out of his mouth. Simple, brutal, and effective. I fucking love it. This is a peak kill. This is how you do it right. You can hear them screaming in pain, their neck bones snapping. That is good sound design, and it's flashy. I like flashy. Now we're going to go into number 8, and then after that will actually be 2 custom kills. Is there ever a time you think that too much is too good? Nope, not for me. Because this is the Knight. He summons the boys, who go stab. They're just playing ring around the rosy, the poor guy. Then just slice. And the Knight, who's just relaxing, he's like, stabs the sword down, pulls it out, quick and efficient. I love when the boys go ring around the rosy, and the one with the branding iron, like, in the neck. Oh! I'm pretty sure that blow is what finishes them off. That's just insult to injury, I'd say, personally. That's just insult to fucking injury. That they're bringing his sword down and then pulling it out. That's just insult to injury. Now we're going to go to number 7 next. Next up in 8th place is Naughty Bear. Naughty Bear is the trapper ult that uses its actual trap. Stabs him on the side, but right to the side of the head, then stabs him to the chest, throws him off the knife, have their head slam into a trap. That is style points. That is actually using the killer's power, which I appreciate. Thank you for doing that, devs. But to think that Naughty Bear does it right is impressive. Now, number 7, this is number 6, actually. This one is straight up brutal. This is Dracula's true form. This is his true form. The 2 demon heads go bump bump. He picks them by their actual spine. The 2 heads just start ripping them apart. He throws them aside and has their spine in his hand. That is messed up. He literally has their spine in his hand when he's killing them. But now we're going to number 5. This is heavily carried by the character being in the game that I really wanted him in the game for the better part of 4 years. And also, recency bias. Also, I haven't enough of seeing his more yet. And also everything else. Because it's fucking Springtrap. He's in Dead by Daylight. Stabs him to the chest with his knife. And then, well, it's lore accurate, putting him in a fucking saw trap, which is basically a spring lock suit. He does it right. He had style, flair. He also stays pretty lore accurate. He just puts him in an endoskeleton basically, and lets the trap shred them, and then jump scare at the end. The fucking jump scare is perfect. That is pretty lore accurate for Springtrap. I don't think they could have done this better, unless they literally put him into a literal suit. That's like, imagine if it wasn't just a saw suit. Like, imagine it was actually a spring lock suit. and it closes shut like on the survivor, and then the suit falls to the ground, but the survivor stays in the suit. That would have been the only way they could have made it better. But I will say that this earned its top five spot handedly. It is such a god tier Mori. Good old Albert Wesker. To think he's top four. Congratulations, Wesker. Spin around punch. He just knocked the sunglasses right off. What he does, he punches him in the face. Then, well, he summons the Ouroboros tentacles, and then just pulls a second pair of sunglasses out, puts it right back on his face. I love the punch. That is so sweet from the server. Then him punching them back, and then just some of the Ouroboros tentacles to just go ham on the Thriver. Good style points. Very good style points. Wesker does it right. Now, we're going back to three of the actually older killers in the game, because these ones are toward the middle of the game period, these last three are. And I'm going to go to number 3. Also, remember guys, I said Ghostface is, like, remember I said Ghostface earlier? He's still in this, as is the Legion and Oni. If you wanted bloody destruction of someone who thinks that the person who they're killing is utter garbage, this is your person then, because I will say, Oni, he disgraces the survivor's name. Stabs down a sword, pulls out their fucking tongue, crushes their tongue, then pulls out his big giant mace and slams it down twice, 2 more times. He just slams it down 3 times as a show of utter disrespect to the survivor. He does not care who you are. He thinks you are trash, and he will show it by crushing your tongue and then slamming you down to death. He does not care who you are. You are garbage. That is all he cares about, is that you are garbage. I have to give him points. He is stylish and knows how to kill efficiently. This is one of the few times that I will say Mori's good, because it's one of the 2 times the server actually fights back. This is like a battle between actual humans. It's one with a knife and one without a knife, and one who's trying to avoid the other one with a knife. He ducks under the knife the first time, gets stabbed in the arm, he pushes them back, then they stab him in the leg, and then stabs him in the chest, it goes shink, and pulls it down their chest. That is a good kill, because it shows that the person is actually fighting back instantly a little bit. And the Legion pulls him back by the leg with the knife in it, and then just stabs in the chest, finishing them all. That is a good Mori. I've loved this for a long time, and this one is actually not just badly rated. This is in the top of many people's lists. Like, this is top 4, top 5 of most people's lists. It just happened to get second for me. This one actually barely beat out Oni. I thought the Oni would be better than this one, but no, I really do like that the server really fights back. It really does fight back, because it seems realistic. Now, if you guys remember, Ghostface is first, who tends to be a bit of a show-off always. You want him more with humor? This is your guy. Stabs him once in the back, then stabs him twice in the side, then stabs him one more time in the back, and then bears the knife in it. He's like, camera time. Takes a fucking selfie. He takes a fucking photo when he's in a trial trying to kill people. He just shows utter disrespect to the survivor by taking the picture mid-trial and open the mouth, having the blood spilling out. This is a funny, good Mori. You gotta give Ghostface creative points, because he is very creative with how he kills people. He's just like, Snapchat, selfie, hi. He just casually in the middle of trial. He was like, yeah, I just carry a camera on me at all times just to take a picture when I want to. Like, what the actual hell? I'm gonna call this video here, because personally, you can't end it up better than Ghostface taking a selfie with a dead body. So, bye-bye.